YouTube is cutting videos or demonetizing videos that have what the algorithm was set to look for as words that may imply a vlog, a video blog that contains hate speech or some material that the YouTube people that were charged with evaluating the entire environment of video blogs on the YouTube system believe might be hateful in some case, or hurtful, or harmful to an ad buyer. So because they've done that, and what happened was that a number of advertisers, big advertisers, AT&T for one, recognized that their brands were being played or being shown either during or prior to the appearance of videos with objectionable content. Now, the reason why I think YouTube has gotten into this problem is related to something else I'm going to vlog about, and that is the dramatic expansion of what it means to be a YouTube partner. When I started on YouTube in 2006, I was making commentary vlogs. Yes, they were political, but they were never about one thing, and they were more conversational. I'll explain what that means in a minute. But what happened was that I was invited to be a YouTube partner in 2008 by Amir Quiglow and Steve Grove, who was at that time the head of he was the editor of YouTube and an area called CitizenTube. So what happened at that point was, when I became a YouTube partner, the most popular vlogs were in threads around a particular topic, but the topics were wide-ranging. For example, I got involved in one regarding Lonely Girl 13. Lonely Girl 13 was this video show, or really, it wasn't a show until we realized it was really a show. Prior to that, we thought it was just Bree vlogging about her life as a teenager. But Bree was, as it turned out, an actress hired by a creative artist agency for this project. No one knew. And then the secret was revealed, and common YouTubers went nuts and started this talk. That became very popular. And then, of course, there was the other one that was centered around Renetto and being white as opposed to being black, and how blacks view YouTube and whites view YouTube and that sort of thing. It was an interesting conversation, well played by Renetto, and it was picked up and essentially delivered during the YouTube meetups at places like Pier 39 in San Francisco. That was 2007, and so on, okay? And I can go on and on and on with other descriptions. But YouTube, in the early days, was used a lot like Facebook is now, where people have exchanges. On Facebook, the exchanges are text, but in YouTube, the exchanges are via video. And those threads of vlogs became popular as a unit. But after the time that Google essentially bought YouTube in late 2007, and then began the partner program in 2008, and then Oprah came on late in 2007, and we got into these show video blogs, and YouTube expanded. What happened was that we saw more segmented vlogs, as I call them. That is, you've got someone like Michelle Phan who vlogs about makeup, or you have someone else who vlogs about something, you know, segments. But the all-purpose vlogger was a person who was few and far between. We have people like, for example, Phil DeFranco is an all-purpose vlogger. He became an all-purpose vlogger. In the early days, Phil would put thumbnails of his videos up that had a scantily clad woman with ample cleavage. But somewhere around 2011, I believe, he slowly got away from that practice, and he still vlogs. We had others who vlogged about gaming, but like PewDiePie, for example, and he started a new revolution in vlogging about gaming, although some people would just simply throw up videos of screenshots of games and quite literally litter YouTube with them. During that time, someone, I don't know who, but I'll have to blame Robert Klinkle because at the time he was in charge, made the decision to rapidly expand the number of YouTube partners. I remember when there were just 20,000 of us. That was 2009. Now there's well over 1 million. And YouTube adopted this practice of basically allowing any video to be monetized that went viral. So that person who had that channel became a YouTube partner. And this practice went on and continued, but no one bothered to ask the question, hey, in doing this, are we creating a system where people are producing videos that advertisers want to have their brands on? The idea of a quality vlog is in the eye of the beholder. A simple video blog of me talking about something, depending on the subject matter and how it's delivered, could be considered quite quality to a number of people. That happened with Susan Boyle when I talked about the emergence of the star on Britain's Got Talent, and that video went viral because of the way that I presented it, the fact that I included just a little bit of her singing, not enough to violate fair use, enough to get your attention and say, hey, I remember that, I want to hear what he has to say. It was a 2-minute something video, seen now, I think 10 million times, somewhere in there. At any rate, no, less than 10 million, 3 million. I have another one that's 10 million. But at any rate, my point is that vlog commentary like that, delivered at appropriate time, on the proper platforms like SFGate, caused it to go viral. After that, YouTube, to come back to what I was saying a moment earlier, opened the gates to basically anybody whose video went boom. You could have a monetized video. And what happened was that YouTube didn't take that away. Once the video became monetized, the channel was monetized, and the creator of the video was made a partner, and that was it. And then YouTube went a step further and allowed you to monetize any channel that was hooked to your AdSense account. So that really opened up the floodgates. And the issue I've always had with how YouTube has evolved is my perception that YouTube does not ask the question, do we have enough staff to handle the workload we're creating by making these changes? I asked that question in 2009, and everyone looked at each other in the room at YouTube headquarters like I had said something akin to, hey, this Martian's going to come in and eat a pizza. Do you think he can cook? You know, something like that. So they have this system, YouTube, of making these changes, but then they foist this workload on a staff that may be already overworked doing other things, and then so they rely on algorithms to basically do the work of staff, and the algorithms are not sophisticated enough to be humans. So mistakes are made. Videos are demonetized when they should not be. Whole channels are given warnings when they shouldn't get one, and so on and so on and so on. What YouTube has to do is go back to paying attention to partners that upload regularly and have content that more often than not is deemed quality by the YouTube system. Now, what I mean by that is content that is original, content that doesn't ignite a copyright strike. Let's say maybe you get 1 or 2 copyright strikes if you upload. It should be a formula. For example, I upload a lot, okay? So there should be a percentage of videos that you have, the system looks at it and says, okay, well, maybe you had two copyright claims, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, but you had an upload of, let's say, 1,000 videos this year, 500 videos this year. I'm way over that myself. And so because of that small percentage, you're okay. That means that far more often than not, you don't have videos that are triggering a dispute. Okay, that's one way of determining what a quality vlog is. And once you have that filtering device, then you put ads on what's left over, because you know that you're going to get the partners that are actually on a regular basis creating content, and also while you're doing that, up their pay a little, you know? Give us some incentives for this. But I encourage everybody who wants to stay afloat on YouTube, and I've said this before and I'll say it again in a different context, be diverse. Don't be a one-trick pony, because I don't care if it's news and politics or fashion or bodybuilding or tools. There will be some change in the YouTube system that hurts you if you stick to one approach. I've seen this happen time and again. This is not the first time. It happened when YouTube changed its system. This was, I think, back in 2009 in such a way that, and now my memory is failing me, but basically what happened was that people who had stuck to one topic in this area, I think, and it impacted fitness and bodybuilding, gone. I told one person who had lost, I think, 80% of their revenue. I said, you know, talk about cooking, because this is a conversation. And I'll go back and research what that was. I apologize for not remembering it on the fly, but I'll go back and research what that was, because it's important to this conversation. Be someone who has a diverse mind and all-purpose intellect. You could talk about email marketing and social media, or artwork, or Kim Kardashian, or the Oakland Raiders. You get the idea. Be diverse in your video spread, and you will be hit less hard by these changes. Everyone experiences some hit. Also, something else. Don't rely just on Google AdSense for your revenue. Have outside sponsors. Everything that I do comes from YouTube. It becomes a blog and social media content, but I have outside clients and sponsors so that my income is not severely impacted by these changes. I think it was Chim Shoyan, who has the YouTube video, if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, who has the YouTube how-to advice channel on SEO, who stresses this. He says one of his more provocative titles is how I made $3,000 or was it $5,000 per month on YouTube with just 1,000 subscribers. And the key is, it's something that you don't think about. He got outside sources of income that are based on what he did on YouTube. For example, selling t-shirts, or again, representing a restaurant brand, or someone who's paying you for mentioning their name many, many times as an influencer. You have to remember something. You're an influencer, and people are more want to buy into the personality you are than what you talk about. If you think about it from that perspective, your subject matter of the list of subjects that you focus on is much broader, and your income potential much greater than focusing on one subject. Keep that in mind.